I remember the day vividly, as if it happened yesterday. I had planned a surprise for my wife, Kate. She had always been passionate about arts and crafts, so when I heard about the annual craft and handmade festival coming to town, I knew it was the perfect opportunity to make her happy. The festival was known for its vibrant atmosphere, filled with artisans, workshops, and unique handmade goods. I wanted to see her face light up with joy. The day was bright and sunny, perfect for an outdoor event. We arrived early, and as soon as we walked through the entrance, Kate's eyes widened in excitement. She grabbed my hand and practically dragged me from stall to stall, her enthusiasm infectious. I couldn't help but smile, watching her immerse herself in the creativity and beauty around us. We spent hours wandering through the aisles, admiring the intricate pottery, beautifully woven textiles, and stunning jewelry. Kate was in her element, chatting with the artisans, asking questions about their techniques and admiring their work. I was happy to see her so engaged, and I was content to follow her lead, enjoying the day together. As the afternoon wore on, we stumbled upon a booth that stood out from the rest. It was filled with the most exquisite ceramic pieces I had ever seen. The detail and craftsmanship were extraordinary. The artist, a man named Jackson, was busy demonstrating his technique to a small crowd. Kate was instantly drawn to his work, her eyes sparkling with interest. We approached the booth, and Jackson greeted us with a warm smile. He was in his mid-30s, with tousled dark hair and an easygoing demeanor. His hands were covered in clay, and he had a relaxed confidence about him. Kate immediately struck up a conversation, asking him about his inspiration and his process. Jackson was more than happy to share, his passion for his art evident in every word. I watched as Kate and Jackson talked animatedly, their connection immediate and natural. I felt a pang of jealousy, but quickly dismissed it. This was Kate's world, and I was glad she was enjoying herself. I excused myself to get us some coffee, leaving them deep in conversation. When I returned, Kate was sitting at a pottery wheel, her hands covered in clay, under Jackson's guidance. She looked up at me, beaming, and I felt a mixture of pride and unease. I handed her the coffee, and Jackson and I exchanged a few pleasantries. He invited Kate to join one of his workshops the next day, and she eagerly accepted. I couldn't say no to her excitement. The next morning, Kate was buzzing with anticipation. She couldn't stop talking about Jackson and the new techniques she wanted to learn. I was happy for her, though I couldn't shake the feeling of unease from the day before. I pushed it aside, telling myself that it was just my imagination running wild. At the festival, Kate immediately headed for Jackson's booth. He welcomed her warmly, and they dove straight into the workshop. I decided to explore the festival on my own, giving them space. I wandered around, taking in the sights and sounds, but my mind kept drifting back to Kate and Jackson. After a couple of hours, I returned to find Kate fully engrossed in her work, her face lit up with concentration and joy. Jackson was beside her, offering guidance and encouragement. I stood back, watching them interact. There was a chemistry between them that I couldn't ignore, but I convinced myself it was purely artistic. That evening we returned home, and Kate couldn't stop talking about her day. She showed me the pieces she had made, her eyes shining with pride. I was genuinely happy for her, but a small part of me couldn't help but feel left out. She was so caught up in her new passion that I felt like a bystander in her life. The next day, Kate suggested going back to the festival alone. She wanted to fully immerse herself in the workshops without any distractions. I hesitated but agreed. She deserved to have this experience, and I didn't want to hold her back. She left early in the morning, her excitement palpable. That evening she returned home late, looking exhausted but elated. She told me she had stayed for extra workshops and had lost track of time. I believed her, wanting to trust her implicitly. But as the days went by, I couldn't ignore the growing distance between us. She was spending more and more time at the festival, and I was starting to feel like I was losing her to this new world. Then came the day when our neighbor, Mike, mentioned seeing Kate with another man at the festival. He casually brought it up in conversation, not realizing the bombshell he was dropping. My heart sank, and I felt a wave of panic. I tried to stay calm, but my mind was racing with possibilities. That night, I decided to check Kate's phone. I felt guilty for invading her privacy, but my fears had taken over. What I found confirmed my worst suspicions. She had been texting Jackson, and their messages were far from innocent. They spoke of late-night meetings, stolen kisses, and secret rendezvous. My world shattered in an instant. The shock of what I found on Kate's phone was like a punch to the gut. I couldn't believe my eyes as I scrolled through the messages between her and Jackson. The words were intimate, filled with affection and longing that went far beyond a casual friendship. My heart raced, and I felt a sickening churn in my stomach. The evidence was undeniable. My wife was having an affair. I spent the night in a restless haze, replaying every moment from the festival in my mind. Every smile, every shared glance between Kate and Jackson took on a new, painful significance. I wanted to confront her immediately and demand answers, but I knew I needed to gather my thoughts first. I needed to approach this carefully. The next morning, I waited until after breakfast to talk to Kate. She seemed her usual self, cheerful and excited to head back to the festival. I felt a lump in my throat, struggling to find the right words. "Kate," I began, trying to keep my voice steady, "we need to talk." She looked up at me, a flicker of concern crossing her face. "Sure, what's up?" I took a deep breath, feeling my heart pounding in my chest. "I've noticed you've been spending a lot of time with Jackson, more than just at the festival." Her eyes widened slightly, but she maintained her composure. "We've become good friends, that's all. He's been teaching me a lot about pottery." I nodded, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I saw the messages, Kate. I know there's more to it than that." For a moment, she just stared at me, her expression a mixture of shock and guilt. Then she sighed deeply, looking away. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't mean for this to happen. Jackson and we connected in a way I didn't expect." I felt a surge of anger and betrayal. "How could you do this to us, to me? Wasn't I enough?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "It wasn't about you. I still love you, but I got lost in the excitement of something new. I'm so sorry, John. I never wanted to hurt you." Her words cut deep, but I tried to stay calm. "Do you love him?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "I don't know, I'm confused. I never meant for it to go this far." I stood up, feeling a mix of anger and heartbreak. "You need to decide what you want, Kate, because I can't live like this." She nodded, wiping away her tears. "I understand. I need some time to think." That evening, Kate packed a small bag and left to stay with her sister. The house felt unbearably empty without her. I wandered from room to room, replaying our conversation in my mind. I felt like my world was falling apart, and I didn't know how to fix it. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. Kate and I had been together for years, and the thought of losing her was unbearable. I spent my time trying to make sense of everything, struggling to understand how our relationship had reached this breaking point. Kate called a few times, but our conversations were strained and filled with awkward silences. She was still confused, still trying to figure out what she wanted. I felt helpless, unable to do anything but wait for her to make a decision. I confided in my best friend Mark, who had always been my rock. He listened patiently as I poured out my heart, offering words of comfort and advice. "You need to take care of yourself, John," he said. "Focus on what you need, and give Kate the space to figure things out. Whatever happens, you'll get through this." I took his advice to heart and started doing things that made me happy. I went for long walks, spent time with friends, and tried to find joy in the little things. It wasn't easy, but it helped to keep my mind off the pain. After a couple of weeks, Kate reached out and asked if we could meet. My heart raced as I agreed, hoping for some kind of resolution. We met at a quiet cafe, and I could see the worry etched on her face. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she said, her voice trembling. "And I realize how much I've hurt you, John. I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me. I got caught up in something new and exciting, and I lost sight of what really matters." I nodded, listening intently. "I've been thinking too, Kate. I love you, and I want us to work through this. But I need to know that you're committed to making things right." She reached across the table, taking my hand. "I am, John. I want to fix this, to fix us. I'm willing to do whatever it takes." We decided to seek the help of a marriage counselor, hoping to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. Our first few sessions were tough, filled with painful admissions and raw emotions. But slowly we began to make progress. We learned to communicate better and to be honest about our feelings and needs. Kate stopped attending the festival and cut off all contact with Jackson. It was a difficult decision for her, but she knew it was necessary for our healing. She focused on rebuilding our relationship, and I could see her genuine remorse and commitment to making things right. As the weeks turned into months, we started to find our way back to each other. It wasn't easy, and there were still moments of doubt and insecurity, but we were both determined to make it work. We planned more time together, rediscovered shared interests, and started building new memories to replace the painful ones. One evening, we went for a walk in the park, where we had our first date. It was a beautiful, clear night, and as we strolled hand in hand, I felt a sense of hope for the first time in a long while. "Do you remember this place?" I asked, smiling at her. Kate nodded, her eyes softening. "I do. It's where we started." I stopped and turned to face her. "I want us to start over, Kate, to build something even stronger than before. Are you with me?" She looked into my eyes, her expression filled with love and determination. "I'm with you, John. Always." As we kissed under the stars, I knew that our journey was far from over. There would be more challenges ahead and more obstacles to overcome. But we had found our way back to each other, and that was all that mattered. Together, we were ready to face whatever the future held. The next few months were a whirlwind of emotions and hard work as Kate and I continued our path to recovery. Our sessions with the marriage counselor, Dr. Miller, were crucial in helping us navigate the deep-seated issues that had led to Kate's affair. It was during these sessions that we uncovered the cracks in our relationship that had gone unnoticed for too long. Dr. Miller encouraged us to be open and honest with each other, no matter how painful the truth might be. There were days when the sessions left us feeling drained and exhausted, but they also provided a glimmer of hope. We were starting to understand each other in ways we hadn't before, and that understanding was the foundation of our healing. One evening, after a particularly intense session, Kate and I sat in the living room, each lost in our thoughts. The house was quiet, save for the ticking of the clock on the mantelpiece. I glanced at Kate, who was staring at her hands, a troubled expression on her face. "Do you want to talk about it?" I asked gently. She looked up, her eyes meeting mine. I've been thinking about how we got here, how I let myself get swept up in something so destructive." I reached out, taking her hand in mine. "We both made mistakes, Kate. We stopped communicating and stopped putting in the effort. But we're working on it now. We're not the same people we were before." She squeezed my hand, a small smile playing on her lips. "You're right, and I'm grateful for the chance to make things right. I want us to be stronger than ever." We spent the next few hours talking about our hopes and fears, about the future we wanted to build together. It was a conversation we should have had a long time ago, but better late than never. For the first time in a while, I felt a sense of peace. Kate threw herself into her pottery, but this time, it was different. She no longer saw it as an escape, but as a form of therapy. She even invited me to join her in her creative process. We set up a small studio in the garage where we could work together on various projects. It became our sanctuary, a place where we could reconnect and rediscover the joy of creating something beautiful together. One Saturday morning, Kate suggested we take a pottery class together. It was a way for us to learn new skills and spend time together. I agreed, excited about the prospect of sharing this experience with her. The class was held in a cozy studio downtown, and we were welcomed by a friendly instructor named Linda. As we worked side by side, shaping clay into various forms, I felt a sense of camaraderie with Kate that had been missing for so long. We laughed at our mistakes, celebrated our successes, and enjoyed the simple pleasure of being together. It was a reminder of why we had fallen in love in the first place. Rebuilding trust was perhaps the hardest part of our journey. There were days when doubts and insecurities threatened to overwhelm us, but we were determined to keep moving forward. We established new routines and rituals to help strengthen our bond. One of these rituals was our weekly date night. Every Friday we would go out or stay in and do something special together. It could be a dinner at a new restaurant, a movie night, or even a simple walk in the park. The goal was to spend quality time together, reconnect, and remind ourselves of the love we shared. One Friday evening, we decided to revisit the Craft and Handmade Festival. It had been nearly a year since the events that had nearly torn us apart, and we wanted to create new, positive memories there. As we walked through the festival grounds, hand in hand, I could see the determination in Kate's eyes. "This place brings back so many memories," she said softly. but I want to replace the painful ones with happy ones. I nodded, squeezing her hand. We can do that. Together. We spent the day exploring the various booths, admiring the craftsmanship and creativity on display. We even stopped by a pottery booth, where Kate struck up a conversation with the artist. This time, there was no tension, no lingering doubts. I could see the genuine interest in her eyes, and it warmed my heart. In the evening, we sat by the main stage, where a local band was performing. The music was lively, and the atmosphere was festive. Kate rested her head on my shoulder, and I wrapped my arm around her, feeling a sense of contentment. "Thank you for being here with me," she whispered. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be," I replied. As the band played their final song, we shared a kiss, sealing our commitment to each other. It was a small but significant moment, a symbol of the new beginning we were creating. Our journey wasn't without its setbacks. There were moments of frustration and doubt, times when the pain of the past threatened to overshadow our progress. But we had learned to communicate better, to be honest about our feelings, and to support each other through the tough times. One night, as we lay in bed, Kate turned to me with a serious expression. "John, I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything we've been through." I looked at her, feeling a pang of apprehension. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "I want us to renew our vows, to make a fresh start and commit to each other all over again." Her words took me by surprise, but as I considered them, I realized how much it made sense. Renewing our vows would be a powerful statement of our commitment to each other, a way to put the past behind us and look forward to the future. "I think that's a wonderful idea," I said, feeling a surge of love for her. "Let's do it." We began planning a small ceremony, inviting only our closest friends and family. It was a chance to celebrate our love and the hard work we had put into rebuilding our relationship. We chose a beautiful park by the lake, where we could be surrounded by nature and the people who mattered most to us. On the day of the ceremony, as we stood before our loved ones, I looked into Kate's eyes and saw the woman I had fallen in love with all those years ago. The woman who had made mistakes, but was willing to fight for our love. The woman who was my partner, my best friend, and my soulmate. "I promise to love you, to cherish you, and to stand by your side through all of life's challenges," I said, my voice filled with emotion. "Today, we start a new chapter, and I'm grateful to be on this journey with you." Kate smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "I promise to love you, to honor you, and to always work on our relationship," she replied. "You are my heart, my home, and my forever." As we exchanged rings and sealed our vows with a kiss, I felt a sense of peace and joy that I hadn't felt in a long time. We had come a long way from the pain and betrayal, and while the journey was far from over, I knew we had the strength and love to face whatever came our way. Our renewed commitment to each other was a testament to our resilience, our willingness to forgive, and our desire to build a future together. We had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, ready to embrace the light and the love that awaited us. After renewing our vows, Kate and I felt a renewed sense of purpose and commitment in our relationship. We were determined to make our fresh start count, to continue building on the foundation we had worked so hard to rebuild. The ceremony had been a beautiful healing experience, but now it was time to live those vows in our everyday lives. We decided to take a trip together, just the two of us. It had been years since we'd taken a vacation without any distractions, and we both needed a break from the routine. We chose a quaint little town by the coast, known for its charming cottages and stunning sunsets. It was the perfect place to reconnect and focus on each other. The moment we arrived, we were enchanted by the town's beauty. Our cottage was cozy, with a porch that overlooked the ocean. Every morning, we'd sit together, sipping coffee and watching the waves roll in. It was a simple pleasure, but it felt profound in its tranquility. One evening, after a day of exploring the town, we took a walk along the beach. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden glow over everything. Kate slipped her hand into mine, and we walked in comfortable silence, the sound of the waves our only companion. "I've missed this," she said softly, breaking the silence. "Me too," I replied. "It feels like we're rediscovering each other." She nodded, her eyes reflecting the setting sun. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything we've been through, and I realize now that it's made us stronger." I stopped and turned to her, taking her hands in mine. "We've come a long way, Kate, and I'm grateful for every step, even the hard ones." She smiled and we continued our walk, feeling closer than we had in a long time. During our trip, we took the time to talk about our future, to dream together about what we wanted our lives to look like. We discussed our goals, our hopes, and the things we wanted to achieve both individually and as a couple. It was a cathartic experience, one that brought us even closer. One afternoon, as we sat on the porch, Kate turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking about starting a pottery studio, a place where I can create and teach others. What do you think?" I smiled, loving the idea. "I think it's a wonderful idea. You have such a talent, and I know it would make you happy." She looked relieved and excited. "I want it to be a space where we can both create. Maybe you could find a hobby you love too." The idea of having a shared creative space appealed to me. "I'd like that. Maybe I'll take up woodworking again. We could create things together." Our conversations were filled with excitement and possibility, and for the first time in a long time, we felt like we were moving forward, together. Returning home from our trip, we were filled with a renewed sense of energy and optimism. We set about making plans for Kate's pottery studio, converting the garage into a creative workspace. It was a labor of love, and we worked side by side, transforming the space into something beautiful and functional. Kate's enthusiasm was contagious. She threw herself into her pottery with a passion I hadn't seen in years. She started teaching small classes and sharing her skills with others. Watching her thrive brought me immense joy. I began to explore woodworking, rediscovering the pleasure of creating something with my hands. Our studio became a place of collaboration and creativity, a symbol of our new beginning. We also made an effort to be more involved in our community. We volunteered at local events, made new friends, and found ways to give back. It was fulfilling and helped us build a support network outside of our relationship. We realized how important it was to have a life beyond just the two of us, to feel connected to something larger. Our weekly date nights continued, but we also made time for spontaneous adventures. One weekend we decided to go hiking in the nearby mountains. The fresh air and stunning views were invigorating, and the physical activity was a great way to release stress and reconnect with nature. One evening, after a long day of work in the studio, we sat on the porch, enjoying a glass of wine. The stars were bright in the clear night sky, and the air was cool and crisp. Kate leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder. "Do you remember the first time we sat out here?" she asked, her voice soft and nostalgic. "I do," I replied, smiling at the memory. "It feels like a lifetime ago." "We've come so far," she said, her eyes reflecting the stars. "I'm proud of us." I wrapped my arm around her, pulling her close. "I am too, and I'm excited for what's to come." We sat in comfortable silence, enjoying the peace and the sense of accomplishment. We knew that life would still have its challenges, but we were ready to face them together. As the weeks turned into months, our relationship continued to grow and strengthen. We celebrated our successes, both big and small, and supported each other through the tough times. We learned to communicate better, to be honest and open, and to always make time for each other. One day, Kate surprised me with news that would change our lives forever. She came into the studio, her eyes shining with excitement. "John, I have something to tell you," she said, barely able to contain her excitement. "What is it?" I asked, curious. "I'm pregnant," she said, her smile widening. I was stunned, and then a wave of joy washed over me. I pulled her into my arms, feeling an overwhelming sense of happiness and love. "That's amazing news, Kate. I'm so happy." We spent the rest of the day talking about our future, about the new life we were bringing into the world. It was a dream we had shared for a long time, and now it was becoming a reality. As the months went by, we prepared for the arrival of our baby. We decorated the nursery, attended parenting classes, and read every book we could find on the subject. It was an exciting and sometimes overwhelming time, but we faced it together, as a team. The day our baby was born was the happiest day of our lives. Holding our child in our arms, we felt a sense of completeness and purpose. We knew that our journey was far from over, but we were ready to embrace the future with open hearts and a renewed sense of love and commitment. Our story was one of resilience, of overcoming the odds and finding our way back to each other. It was a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and the determination to build something beautiful together. As we looked into our baby's eyes, we knew that the future was bright and filled with endless possibilities. The months following the birth of our baby Emma were a whirlwind of sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, and a new level of joy we had never experienced before. The first time I held Emma in my arms, I felt an overwhelming surge of love and protectiveness. She was so tiny, so perfect, and she brought a new sense of purpose to our lives. Kate and I quickly settled into our roles as parents, supporting each other through the challenges and celebrating the milestones together. Our love for Emma brought us even closer, and we found new ways to connect as a family. The nursery we had painstakingly decorated became the heart of our home, filled with laughter, lullabies, and the sweet scent of baby powder. One afternoon, a few weeks after Emma's birth, Kate and I sat on the porch, watching her sleep in her bassinet. The sun was warm, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. It was a rare moment of peace amidst the chaos of new parenthood. "She's beautiful," I said, my voice filled with wonder. "I can't believe she's ours." Kate smiled, her eyes soft with affection. "I know. She's a miracle." We sat in comfortable silence, basking in the joy of our new life. It was in these quiet moments that I truly appreciated how far we had come. We had faced so many challenges, but we had emerged stronger, ready to embrace the future with open hearts. As Emma grew, so did our love for her. Her first smile, her first laugh, and her first steps were moments of pure magic. We documented every milestone, filling photo albums with memories we would cherish forever. Our home was filled with the sounds of her giggles and the sight of her exploring the world around her. Kate continued to thrive in her pottery studio, balancing her passion for creating with the demands of motherhood. I found joy in woodworking, and together, we turned our studio into a place of family creativity. Emma would play with her toys while we worked on our projects, her laughter filling the space with warmth. One day, as we worked in the studio, Kate looked up from her pottery wheel, her eyes shining with excitement. "I've been thinking about expanding the studio," she said. "Maybe offering more classes, hosting community events. What do you think?" I considered her idea, feeling a surge of pride in her ambition. "I think it's a fantastic idea. You've built something amazing here, and sharing it with others could make it even better." Kate's smile widened, and she reached for my hand. "Thank you, John. Your support means everything to me." We spent the next few months planning the expansion, working together to bring Kate's vision to life. The studio became a hub of creativity and community, a place where people of all ages could come to learn, create, and connect. It was a testament to our resilience and the strength of our love. As Emma continued to grow, so did our sense of adventure and our commitment to each other. We made a point to take family trips, explore new places, and create lasting memories. Each journey brought us closer, reinforcing the bond we had worked so hard to rebuild. One summer, we decided to take a road trip across the country. It was something we had always talked about but never found the time to do. With Emma in tow, we packed up our car and set off on a journey filled with excitement and anticipation. Our first stop was the Grand Canyon. As we stood on the edge looking out at the breathtaking view, I felt a sense of awe and gratitude. This was our life now, filled with wonder and possibility. "This is incredible," Kate said, her voice filled with emotion. "I'm so glad we're doing this." I wrapped my arm around her, pulling her close. "Me too. It feels like a dream." We spent the next few weeks exploring national parks, visiting charming small towns, and soaking in the beauty of the open road. Emma was a trooper, her wide-eyed curiosity a constant source of joy. Every night we'd sit by the campfire sharing stories and dreams, feeling more connected than ever. One evening, as we watched the sunset over the mountains, Kate turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking about writing a book," she said, "about our journey, our struggles, and how we found our way back to each other." I was surprised but intrigued. "That's a wonderful idea. Our story could help others who are going through similar challenges." Kate nodded, her eyes bright with determination. "I want to share our experiences, to show that it's possible to overcome even the toughest obstacles." We spent the rest of the trip discussing her book idea and brainstorming chapters and themes. It was a new project, something that brought us even closer as we reflected on our past and looked forward to our future. Back home, Kate began working on her book, pouring her heart into every page. It was a cathartic process, one that allowed her to process her emotions and share our journey with the world. I supported her every step of the way, proud of her courage and resilience. As the years went by, our lives continued to evolve. Emma started school, her boundless energy and curiosity a constant source of inspiration. Our studio flourished, becoming a beloved community space. Kate's book was published, receiving praise for its honesty and heartfelt message. Through it all, we remained committed to each other and our family. We knew that life would always have its challenges, but we were ready to face them together. Our journey taught us the importance of love, forgiveness, and the strength of the human spirit. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Kate took my hand. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. I smiled, squeezing her hand. "Every day, and I'm grateful for every moment." We sat in silence, enjoying the peace and the sense of fulfillment. Our story was one of resilience, of finding our way back to each other and creating a life filled with love and purpose. As we looked out at the horizon, we knew that the future was bright, and we were ready to embrace every moment together. Years passed, and our lives continued to grow and evolve in ways we never could have anticipated. Emma was now a bright and curious young girl, full of life and energy. Watching her grow was the greatest joy of our lives. She had Kate's artistic talent and my curiosity about the world, and we cherished every moment with her. Kate's pottery studio had become a community fixture, a place where people gathered to learn, create, and share their lives. The expansion had been a resounding success, and she was even invited to speak at various events about her journey and the healing power of art. Her book has touched many hearts, offering hope and inspiration to those facing their own challenges. One afternoon, while Emma was at school, Kate and I were sitting in the studio, enjoying a quiet moment. The sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the room filled with pottery and woodworking projects. "I've been thinking," Kate said, her voice contemplative. "About what?" I asked, curious. "About taking our story further," she replied. "I've had several people reach out asking if we'd consider hosting retreats or workshops, a place where couples can come to heal and reconnect, just like we did." I considered her words, feeling a sense of excitement and possibility. "That sounds incredible, Kate. We have so much to offer, and it could be a way to give back, to help others find their way." Kate smiled, her eyes lighting up. "I've been envisioning a retreat center, nestled in nature, where people can immerse themselves in creativity and healing. We could offer pottery and woodworking classes, along with counseling and activities that promote connection and growth." We spent the next few months planning and researching, pouring our hearts into this new venture. We found a beautiful piece of land just outside of town, surrounded by forests and overlooking a serene lake. It was the perfect place for our retreat center. The process of building the retreat center was a labor of love. We designed it to be a sanctuary, a place of peace and renewal. The main lodge was a cozy, welcoming space with a large common area, a kitchen, and several guest rooms. We built separate studios for pottery and woodworking, along with a meditation garden and walking trails. As the retreat center took shape, we felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was our way of sharing the healing and growth we had experienced, of helping others find their own paths to recovery and connection. The grand opening of our retreat center was a momentous occasion. Friends, family, and community members gathered to celebrate with us, their support and encouragement filling us with gratitude. We gave tours of the facility, sharing our vision and the journey that had led us here. Our first retreat was scheduled for the following month, and we were both nervous and excited. We had carefully planned every detail, from the workshops to the meals, wanting to create an experience that would truly make a difference in the lives of the participants. The day finally arrived, and we welcomed our first group of couples. They came from various backgrounds, each with their own stories of struggle and hope. As they arrived, we could see the mix of anticipation and apprehension in their eyes, and we knew how important this experience would be for them. The retreat began with an introductory session, where Kate and I shared our story, our struggles, and how we rebuilt our relationship. It was a vulnerable moment, but one that set the tone for the retreat. We wanted the participants to know they were not alone, and that healing was possible. Over the next few days, we guided the couples through various activities and workshops. Kate led pottery classes, teaching the participants to mold clay as a metaphor for shaping their lives. I taught woodworking, showing them how to create something beautiful from raw materials. We also had sessions with a counselor, group discussions, and activities designed to promote connection and communication. One evening, as we sat around a bonfire, one of the couples, Mark and Lisa, shared their story. They had been married for 15 years, but had grown distant over time. Their honesty and vulnerability touched everyone, and it sparked a deep conversation about love, forgiveness, and the challenges of maintaining a strong relationship. "We came here feeling like we were at the end of our rope," Lisa said, her voice trembling. "But being here, hearing your stories, and connecting with others has given us hope. We're starting to see that maybe we can rebuild too." Kate reached out and took Lisa's hand. "You can. It takes time and effort, but it's possible. You're not alone in this." As the retreat progressed, we could see the transformations happening. Walls were coming down and connections were being rebuilt. The participants were opening up, sharing their fears and hopes, and finding new ways to communicate and connect with their partners. On the final day of the retreat, we held a closing ceremony in the meditation garden. Each couple was given the opportunity to share their reflections and their commitments to each other. It was a powerful and emotional experience, one that reinforced the importance of love, forgiveness, and the willingness to keep fighting for what matters. As the couples left, we hugged each of them, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. We had witnessed their transformations, their journeys of healing and connection, and it reaffirmed our belief in the power of love and resilience. That evening, after everyone had left, Kate and I sat on the porch of the main lodge, watching the sunset over the lake. We were exhausted, but filled with a sense of accomplishment and gratitude. "We did it," Kate said, her voice filled with emotion. "We really did it." I nodded, feeling the same sense of pride and joy. We did, and this is just the beginning. There are so many more people we can help, so many more stories to be told. We sat in silence, holding hands and watching the stars come out. Our journey had been long and challenging, but it had led us to this moment, to this place of peace and purpose. We had found our way back to each other, and now we were helping others do the same. As we looked out at the horizon, we knew that our story was far from over. There would be more challenges and more triumphs, but we were ready to face them together. Our love had been tested and strengthened, and it would continue to guide us on this beautiful journey called life. After the success of our first retreat, word began to spread about our center. We received numerous inquiries from couples all over the country, eager to experience the healing and renewal that our retreat offered. Each new group brought their own unique stories and challenges, and we felt honored to be part of their journeys. Our lives were busy but fulfilling. Emma was thriving in school, her curious mind soaking up knowledge and her artistic talents blossoming. She loved spending time at the retreat center, often helping Kate in the pottery studio or assisting me with woodworking projects. Our family had found a beautiful rhythm, balancing work, creativity, and quality time together. One particularly memorable retreat featured a couple named Ben and Jessica. They had been married for 20 years and were facing a major crisis. Jessica had recently been diagnosed with cancer, and the stress and fear were taking a toll on their relationship. They had come to the retreat, hoping to find some solace and reconnect before starting Jessica's treatment. On the first evening, as we sat around the bonfire, Jessica shared their story. Her voice was steady, but we could hear the underlying fear and uncertainty. "We're here because we're scared," she admitted, her eyes glistening with tears. "We don't know what the future holds, but we want to face it together, as a team." Ben squeezed her hand, his expression one of determination and love. "We've been through so much, and we don't want this to tear us apart. We need to find our strength again." Their vulnerability touched everyone, and the group rallied around them, offering support and encouragement. Throughout the retreat, we saw Ben and Jessica open up, sharing their fears and finding strength in each other. The creative workshops provided an outlet for their emotions, allowing them to express their hopes and fears in a safe, supportive environment. One afternoon during a pottery session, I noticed Jessica working intently on a clay sculpture. She was creating a beautiful piece, intricate and detailed, with a sense of grace and resilience. I walked over and admired her work. "This is incredible, Jessica," I said. "It's so powerful." She looked up, a small smile on her lips. Thank you, John. It's been cathartic. Working with the clay, it feels like I'm molding my strength, finding my way through this. By the end of the retreat, Ben and Jessica had found a renewed sense of connection and purpose. They were ready to face the challenges ahead, knowing they had each other for support. As they left, they thanked us for the experience, their gratitude evident in their eyes. "You've given us hope," Jessica said, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for everything." Their words stayed with us, reinforcing our belief in the importance of our work. Each retreat was a reminder of the power of love and resilience, of the human capacity to heal and grow. As our retreat center continued to flourish, we faced new challenges and opportunities. Balancing our personal lives with the demands of running the center was not always easy, but we remained committed to our mission. We were driven by the desire to help others, to share the lessons we had learned, and to provide a space for healing and connection. One of the biggest challenges came when we decided to expand the retreat center further. The demand for our retreats was growing, and we wanted to create more spaces for creativity and reflection. This meant more construction, more planning, and more financial investment. Kate and I spent countless hours discussing our vision, sketching out plans, and meeting with architects and contractors. It was an exciting but daunting task, and there were moments when the stress felt overwhelming. But we knew it was necessary to continue our mission, to provide a sanctuary for those in need. During this time, we leaned heavily on our support network. Friends and family offered their help and encouragement, and we were reminded of the importance of community. Our connection to each other and our shared vision kept us going, even during the toughest moments. One evening, as we sat in the living room, surrounded by blueprints and financial statements, Kate looked at me, her expression thoughtful. "John, do you ever worry that we're taking on too much?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. I took a deep breath, considering her question. "Sometimes, yes, but I believe in what we're doing. I believe in us." She smiled, her eyes filled with love. "I do too, and I'm so grateful to have you by my side." We shared a quiet moment, holding hands and drawing strength from each other. We knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but we were ready to face it together. As the construction began, we continued to run our retreats, balancing the chaos of expansion with the calm and focus of our workshops. Each retreat was a reminder of why we were doing this, of the lives we were touching, and the difference we were making. One particularly memorable retreat featured a young couple, David and Laura. They had been married for only a few years, but were already facing significant challenges. David had recently lost his job, and the financial stress was taking a toll on their relationship. They had come to the retreat hoping to find a way to reconnect and rebuild their trust. During a woodworking session, David confided in me about his fears and frustrations. "I feel like I've let Laura down," he admitted, his voice filled with anguish. "I don't know how to fix this." I listened, offering my support and sharing my own experiences of facing adversity. "It's not easy, David, but the fact that you're here, willing to work on your relationship, shows your commitment. That's the first step." Throughout the retreat, we saw David and Laura begin to open up, communicate, and support each other. They participated in every activity, their determination to heal and grow evident in their actions. By the end of the retreat, they had found a renewed sense of connection and hope. As they left, Laura hugged us tightly, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for helping us find our way back to each other," she said. "We're ready to face the future, together." Their words reinforced our commitment to our mission. We knew that the challenges we faced were worth it, and that we were making a difference in the lives of others. As the expansion of the retreat center neared completion, we looked forward to welcoming even more couples, sharing our stories, and providing a space for healing and connection. We knew that our journey was far from over, but we were ready to face whatever came our way, together. Our story was one of resilience and hope, of finding strength in each other and in the power of love. We had faced our own challenges and emerged stronger, and now we were helping others do the same. As we looked out at the horizon, we knew that the future was bright, and we were ready to embrace every moment. The day finally arrived for the grand reopening of our expanded retreat center. It was a culmination of years of hard work, dedication, and unwavering commitment to our vision. The new facilities were everything we had hoped for and more. Additional guest lodges, expanded creative studios, serene meditation gardens, and beautiful trails winding through the surrounding woods. We had poured our hearts into every detail, creating a space where love and healing could flourish. As the sun rose on the morning of the grand reopening, the center buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Friends, family, past retreat participants, and members of the community gathered to celebrate this milestone with us. Emma, now a spirited and creative young girl, took charge of welcoming guests, her bright smile and infectious enthusiasm setting the tone for the day. Kate and I stood together, watching the guests arrive, our hearts filled with gratitude. It was a moment of reflection and pride, a testament to the journey we had taken together. We had transformed our pain into purpose, building something beautiful out of our struggles. The ceremony began with a heartfelt speech from Kate. She stood on the porch of the main lodge, the sun casting a warm glow over her. Her voice was steady and filled with emotion as she shared our story and the vision behind the retreat center. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her eyes scanning the crowd. "This center is more than just a place. It's a testament to the power of love, resilience, and community. John and I started this journey with a dream to help others find healing and connection, just as we did. We couldn't have done it without your support and belief in our vision." She paused, her gaze turning to me. "John, you've been my rock, my partner in this incredible journey. Together, we've created a sanctuary for love and healing. I'm so grateful for you and for everything we've built together." I joined her, taking her hand as we stood together before our community. "This center is a dream realized," I said, my voice filled with emotion. "It's a place where people can come to heal, to reconnect, and to find hope. Thank you all for being part of this journey with us." We cut the ribbon together, symbolizing the opening of a new chapter. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the serene landscape. It was a moment of pure joy and accomplishment, a celebration of everything we had achieved. As the day unfolded, guests explored the new facilities, participated in creative workshops, and enjoyed the peaceful surroundings. There were pottery and woodworking demonstrations, guided nature walks, and heartfelt conversations around the bonfire. It was a day of connection and celebration, a true testament to the power of community. In the evening, we gathered around the large fire pit, the crackling flames casting a warm glow over the faces of our guests. The sky was a canvas of stars, and the air was filled with laughter and the sounds of nature. We toasted to love, to resilience, and to the journey that had brought us all together. One of the most touching moments came when several past retreat participants stood up to share their stories. Their words were filled with gratitude and hope, their transformations a testament to the impact of our work. Mark and Lisa, the couple who had reconnected during one of our early retreats, spoke about the progress they had made. "Coming here was the turning point for us," Mark said, his arm around Lisa. "We found hope and healing in this place, and it saved our marriage. Thank you, John and Kate, for giving us that gift." Ben and Jessica, who had faced the uncertainty of cancer together, shared their story of strength and resilience. "This retreat gave us the courage to face our fears," Jessica said, her voice filled with emotion. "We found a community of support and love here, and it made all the difference." David and Laura, who had rebuilt their trust and connection, spoke about their journey. "We came here feeling lost," Laura admitted, "but we left with a renewed sense of hope and commitment. This place is truly special." Their stories brought tears to our eyes and reaffirmed our belief in the importance of our work. We had created a space where people could find healing and connection, and their stories were proof of the impact we were making. As the night drew to a close, Kate and I stood together, watching the fire burn low. The guests had left, and the retreat center was quiet, the stars twinkling overhead. We held each other, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment and peace. "We did it," Kate whispered, her voice filled with awe. "We really did it." I nodded, my heart swelling with pride. "Yes, we did, and it's just the beginning." We knew that there would be more challenges ahead, but we were ready to face them together. Our love had been tested and strengthened, and we had built something beautiful out of our journey. The retreat center was a testament to our resilience and our commitment to helping others. As we looked out at the horizon, we felt a deep sense of gratitude for the path we had taken. Our story was one of love, forgiveness, and the power of community. It was a story that would continue to unfold, filled with new beginnings and endless possibilities. At that moment, we knew that we had found our true purpose. We had turned our pain into a source of strength, creating a legacy of love and healing. And as we stood together, watching the stars, we knew that the future was bright and that we were ready to embrace every moment of it together.